Hey, how's it going? My name is Grapes. I've been an esports commentator in the League of Legends space since about 2020, and it's one of my favorite times of the year this year. Not because the LCS finals just wrapped up, not because we're about to go to MSI. It's because it is about time for CLOL. That's right, Collegiate League of Legends. Now, if you're not aware, the CLOL space has been around since about 2015, and it's been a really great ecosystem, especially now in the economy that we are in terms of esports, where gamers get the opportunity to pursue the passions that they love, compete for championship titles, and also get a chance to pursue their education and further their careers for the future. And I think, once again, just a great space to be a part of over the last couple of years, especially. And I think right now, we're in the midst of one of our most competitive CLOL seasons ever. You have schools like Maryville University, who just made it all the way to the NACL finals. One of their players, Yuji, just won an MVP award. And, just a couple of years ago, this school had APA, who now is winning championships for the LCS as a part of Team Liquid. And so, Maryville, definitely an incredible school, an incredible example of what a collegiate program can be. And of course, even more schools competing for that title as well. Schools like St. Louis, UST, Winthrop, Ole Miss, all right now in the midst and in the hunt for that championship title. And you have a lot of other players as a part of the space that have formerly competed in the LCS or are looking to try to get back into the LCS or into the LCS for the first time. Players like Surdy, definitely, Mike Young, Kenvi, Saligo. I mean, it's a really awesome space to be a part of, and there's tons of competitive matches right now. And we're just about ready to get started with the top 32 bracket, which will be starting next week. And it just was announced that best of fives are going to be the format for round of 16 onwards, and round of 8 and onwards will all be double elimination, which I think are all pretty impressive changes and pretty big changes that I think actually benefit the space in comparison to years past. And I could go on and on about all the stories and all the different matchups that I'm excited to watch here this year in CLOL. And the problem is, we might not have the opportunity to tell them. Now, in years past, historically, this championship bracket has been fully streamed, fully broadcasted to the public, for everybody to watch by the tournament organizers. And Riot has been running CLOL for the last few years, and in the past they ran the first few rounds and they hired them out to an external company. It was Unified in 2021 and 22. It was Battlefy back in 2023. But either way, these were companies that were taking on the production rights and running these streams for the community. And then after that, for the round of 8, round of 4, round of 2, depending on the stage and the year, the Riot Games productions actually took over. So the same crews that you see for the LCS, in the same studio that you see for the LCS, these players got a chance to compete in that space. And I think it's been a really awesome to follow for all these years, and not only for us as fans and broadcasters, but also for the friends and family, most importantly, of the players that get to watch their child compete on these big stages, just like college students at March Madness and things like that. I think this is a great opportunity for students as a whole. And we knew coming into this year that things were going to look a little differently because Riot sold the rights to collegiate esports, both Valorant and League of Legends, to a company called GG Tech and their subsidiary, University Esports. Now, GG Tech has done some good things in other regions as both a tournament organizer and a broadcast company, and I was actually particularly excited to see a group like them take full creative control of a product like this because Riot's busy doing a bunch of other things. If you can have a company fully devote their time and effort to just collegiate League of Legends, just imagine how much this community could grow, especially when it looks like collegiate organizations are becoming more and more popular and more successful. And I actually had the opportunity to talk to some people at GG Tech when this announcement was first made, and I honestly felt great about the conversations that we had. What we had in CLOL was great over the last few years, but I thought that there were definitely a bunch of big steps that could continue to be taken in the future to continue to grow the community, continue to grow our space a little bit more. Things like more lands that are not just for the finals, and maybe official coverage of things that are not just the collegiate championships, things like the conference championships and the regular season, which are all also super important. And while it seemed like we were on the same page in the conversations that we had, unfortunately, these looks like we haven't been able to deliver in terms of the growth of and things that we were hoping for this year with GG Tech. The first thing is that outside of the fall warm-up broadcast that happened back in October, there has been zero coverage of anything CLOL related for the regular season or the conference playoffs. And of course, this is very similar to what has happened in years past, but after the conversations that we had, I was hoping that we'd see a little bit more of this situation. You see here, these tweets were basically the only things officially covered by the University Esports account about CLOL. It was these little tweets saying, this is the week of games that it is, and that was it. And you see, they don't do very well. They got 1 like here, 3 likes here. And again, just an area that I thought could have been expanded upon that wasn't able to be. wasn't able to happen. And then it was recently announced a couple of days ago that the Collegiate League of Legends Championships were not only going to be shrunk from top 4 to top 2, but also are going to be held in Boise State University in Idaho instead of the Riot Games studio in Los Angeles. Now, I know a lot of people were quick to criticize the location, things like that. I think honestly it's not that bad of a change. And when you're not fully contracted out by Riot, you might as well try to look for other spaces. And I think going to different universities is actually a pretty good plan. The problem to me here is that you're reducing the amount of people that can go to these lands, and not only is that less opportunity for more competition, but also these lands give players opportunities to just meet each other, create lifelong memories. You talk to the players and they say that their most memorable parts of these lands and these experiences are just getting to meet all these other players, and taking that opportunity away from people, obviously a bit unfortunate. And honestly, with the changes that have happened and with this being the first year of GG Tech taking over, I could have probably been okay with kind of the decisions that have been made. It's just and hope that things could have changed in the future. I'm not okay with what they announced next, as today GG Tech announced that they would not be funding a broadcast for any parts of the online portion of their knockout bracket, meaning the only production of the entire year that they're going to be running, both the regular season and knockout, is just the grand finals that are going to be happening in June. And for this top 32 bracket, which has been broadcasted for years by the company that has been running the tournament, they're instead going to be relying on co-streamers to broadcast their matches, which means they're effectively relying on the community that has built this space for so long to put in hundreds of hours of their own work as basically free labor, just so they can put on a show. And to me, as much as I'm hoping that things change in the future, this is pretty unacceptable to me. And I was personally really disappointed upon hearing the news. These players competing, they deserve the chance to have their matches streamed in an official capacity, and not giving them that opportunity after it was giving them for the last 3 years. It just really sucks. And I was definitely hoping to figure a solution to this. And my friend Hawk and I end up doing a lot of these broadcasts together. In fact, we've been involved with the CLOL productions for the last couple of years, and recently we've kind of taken on a more producer role as well. We did a show called Tier 3 Tonight, which covered all of the NACL qualifiers in collaboration with Riot, and we also did our own broadcast of the NACL qualifier productions, which I think is a good proof of concept of the shows that we're going to be able to put out as producers. And with that experience under our belt, we decided to pitch ourselves to GG Tech. We said, hey, we'll just give us a budget and we'll be able to run all the broadcasts, all the shows for you. And, I think that would have been a pretty good situation. And unfortunately, they said no. They said it's a lack of budget, and they are going with this co-streaming solution. And so now what do we do? These players deserve to have their national championship run in a professional capacity. And while I know there's a lot of really great co-streamers and community members out there that would be happy to do these games for free, I hate that that's the only option, and that's what they're going to be relied on. So we're going to try something real quick. Hawk and I, over at Salty Runback, want to fund our own official broadcast of the entirety of the CLOL Championship bracket, with every game in single elimination and double elimination, and just like it has been like in the last 3 years, but with us in control instead of GG Tech. But we cannot do this without your help. Running a broadcast like this for multiple weeks off a volunteer basis sounds a little predatory and a little bit unfair to the people that we are going to be asking to help us out with all of this. And normally we try to look for sponsors, but with the knockout bracket starting in 8 days, I don't think we have much of a turnaround for that to happen. And so instead, we have set up a GoFundMe page for anyone who's able to support our endeavor financially to try to get this broadcast up and running a little bit. And just to be fully transparent about everything that we want to do, we also linked a spreadsheet in that GoFundMe page. It has full details about everything that we want to do in terms of where all this money will be going for. And you might think to yourself, it seems like a lot of money to be asking for just a couple of Twitch streams, but we want this to be a professional grade production, and frankly, some of the numbers that we're dealing with are bordering on the minimums of what we'd be able to reasonably allow people to kind of get paid to do. And so the initial goal that we have set here is just to cover all the games in top 8 and beyond, but obviously the more and more that can be raised, we'd love to obviously reach that goal and get to cover more games in the top 16, the top 32. And there's a lot of incentives as well if people are interested. We would do things like ad reads, like personal shoutouts on the streams, if that is something that you're interested in. And again, if you are financially able, we'd really like to try to make this broadcast happen and really show that the community is strong and we could try to do something together. And CLOL has meant so much to me and so many others over the years. And with us being probably in the best year ever for CLOL, it feels really bad to see a situation where things are shrinking instead of growing. And hopefully, with your help, we'll be able to accomplish a lot more this year and do something really great. And so make sure to check the link down below. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to message me at Speedy Grapes on Twitter or Hawk at Hawkcast as well. And let's try to put on a really great show. And let's try to do justice to one of the best collegiate esports and the best collegiate sports in the world. Thank you.